up, everybody? Welcome back to the Collector's Outpost. I am John. Well, today we're taking a look at a character's lightsaber that many of you have actually asked for, Darth Nihilus. Now, I remember him from back in the Old Republic 2 video game, but I never really knew a whole lot about Nihilus. Now, over time, digging and learning more about this particular character, not one of my favorite characters, whatever, but, just learning about a character and their story arc and where they came from. His story is kind of depressing, really. It's one of those, I became a Sith because I lost everything in life and grief took me over the edge and I turned into something that I never expected to turn into. Now, he lost all of his friends and family in the Mandalorian Wars. And from all of his grief, turned to the dark side to deal with that grief and learned how to feed off of other people's life forces. Now, the problem with that is that it's basically like a vampire. Once you feed, the hunger grows and it grows and it grows. And the only way for him to deal with the hunger and the grief was to feed more and feed more. Darth Vader comes along and basically trains him how to consume whole planets, and he becomes known as the Lord of Hunger. And down the line with all of his training, he does become a Sith Lord. Now, you gotta listen to that story. He starts as a human being, just living his life, doing his thing, and loses everything in his life. His friends, his family, everything. And the only way to deal with all of that loss and all of that grief and depression is turning to the dark side to be able to tolerate living. It's truly one of those really kind of sad stories that really makes you think, how some people get to where they are in life. So many life situations can bring you down such a bad path, and I feel like that's Darth Nihilus' story. Now, since so many of you asked about Nihilus' lightsaber, I hunted one down and found one over at Artsabers. Thank you so much to Artsabers for sending this over for everybody to check out. I'll put a direct link and a discount code for everybody down in the description below. Now, before we dig into this, please drop down below, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. It will tremendously help the channel out and grow and get into those YouTube algorithms. If you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out. And if you're returning, let's dig into this lightsaber. Now, I didn't find too many options of Nihilus, so this one is actually really cool. I do think this might be a slightly older version, and I'll tell you why in a second. But we have the Nihilus saber right here. It is fully decked out, chrome plated. Now, this is one of those lightsabers that it's going to be perfect for swinging around and doing any of your tricks. It's pretty lightweight. It has no sharp edges or anything that's going to snag your hand. It's a perfect size. It's not bulky or anything. But given the fact that it is chrome, it is a fingerprint magnet. So you're going to have to do a lot of wiping down and polishing of the hilt itself. Now, the reason why I say I do think this might be a slightly older version, this is a Xeno V3, which is a newer board. But given the fact that the body has the USB-C charging port right there and the ignition power button right there, something I've been seeing on sabers from like 2 years ago or so, more of the newer ones have them all inside in the chassis. The charging port and everything, and usually has like a button or some sort of thing on the outside to just ignite everything. So given the fact that everything is on the front, I'm thinking this might just be an older body with a newer board inside. But again, this is a Xeno V3, so we'll check the app out and everything in a little bit. Now, the one thing you'll notice because of this, it is not a removable chassis. So what you're gonna have to do is pop out the pommel over there. Now, after you take the pommel off, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna turn this over and you're gonna notice 2 Allen screws right here. What you're gonna have to do is unscrew those. And unfortunately, it's not a quick release chassis. So you will have to do this if you wanna put some new custom fonts in there. So you just have to unscrew these here. And then when you turn it around, that's basically gonna loosen up these. You're just gonna push these in just a little bit there. You can see that kind of went down there. And then what you wanna do at that point is just take your blade and just push gently on the top there near the pins. You don't wanna push at the bottom because that's where your speaker is. So make sure you push out the top. And if you can see, it's the typical chassis that we're used to seeing. It just doesn't have a quick release. But you can see your SD card right there. You can pop that out, insert some new sound fonts, and pop it right back in. Now, to reinsert it, do the exact same thing. Go in through the top speaker first, You go in through the top, make sure that your buttons and everything are aligned here. You're gonna slide that right on down. Use your blade to slip it on in. Hopefully you have everything aligned. There we go. See if we can get these screws back in. Now when you put the screws in, it will push the buttons and everything back up. So we also have our full manual here. This will actually give you all the details and everything on the Xeno V3 app. Of course, we have our famous green wrench here. We do have a nice acrylic stand. This does come with a nice blade plug, which actually kind of looks kind of cool if you think about it. I mean, that's not that bad. I usually don't like these turbine things, but it's kind of cool for that. But you know, you have a zillion blade plug options out there you can buy from. Like even finding blade plugs that are like this, you can find, which I do feel looks a zillion times better. So after this video, when I do display this on the shelves, I am going to use this blade plug. All right, and the last few things we have in here, we have a USB drive if you need to pop your SD card in there, put it in your computer. And we do have our USB-C charging to USB. And we do have a bunch more tools. We have an Allen wrench, some retention screws, and a little thumb screw there. And of course, it does come with a pixel blade. This is a 36-inch blade. I have not opened this blade yet, but let's do it. So we have the app up and running here. We have the power up here on top. The battery supply over there, font select, volume adjust, and everything. Let's lower the volume a little bit. Put it about 28% should work. Now, and then I actually tossed on a shorter blade. This is my 28-inch blade, just because it's easier to move around and, you know, manage the lightsabers in this room. So the first thing I'm gonna do is adjust the size of the blade. So you have the blade adjustment here on page 2. So you can see, you can make this, you know, pretty much any size if you have tiny little Shoto blades and stuff. So let's just see if we can get that up to the tip there. Good, that should work. Now the great thing about having the Xeno app is that you can configure everything, blade length, you know, update your firmware and everything, flip through your fonts, audition a couple of these different settings here and colors and stuff like that. I haven't found adjustment for blade speed in and out yet. Hopefully they'll put that in the app here soon, but that's the only thing that seems to be missing at this point. But you can flip through the fonts really quick here. And just below it, you can audition different blade effects. So you have your tip drag, different flash on clashes, blasters, force effects. Now, when you go into your fonts here, you can actually change a couple of these things here. So let's go to the force light effect here. You have a different setting. Here's a second setting here. That's usually the one I really like. Then you can move on down and you have different ways of adjusting color. You got your live audition right there. You can adjust it by the dials down here. And just below that, you have two other ways of adjusting color. You can flip on infinite color, and it's just gonna scroll through the colors very smoothly and fade between every variation of the color there. And then right next to that, it's just gonna kind of bang on kind of hard colors like oranges, a couple different versions of those. That way you can kind of get through that really quick. But the fastest way, honestly, is go into the color palette and just kind of go like that. Over in page 2 are different brightnesses, blade length like you just saw. If you need to preserve some battery power, you can always pull that down a little bit as far as brightness. And if you have side blades like Kylo Ren, you can flip that on. And these are just tons of different settings here. The one I actually like to turn on is countdown. That's going to help you with the power button here, because all the settings you can do here in the app, you could also pretty much do most of them there right on the Hilt too, and we'll go over that really quick. Then you can flip over to the last tab over there, click on your saber there, and this is great. This is the firmware update. So if you're out of date, or if they have updates or whatever, you can just click on that and update it straight from the app. No need to upload things to SD cards or anything anymore. So that is fantastic for the app itself. Now, like I was saying, when you flip on that countdown button, you can see that there's a light here. So let's say when I go, like that, you'll actually see that blink. But now, by turning on that countdown thing, you'll actually hear a bloop sound.
Volume
So you went
high.
bloop, volume high. So if you have one that does not have a light, where it's just a switch or a button, you can listen to that, that beep sound. Because what that's going to indicate is where you are in the menu. So you're going to have that first beep is going to be your volume. So
Volume low.
So the volume has 3 settings: high, low, and mute. But what you're seeing here is a corresponding LED flashing with that beep. Again, some won't have that LED. So this is really cool to be able to hear it. 2 beeps will be blade styles. 1, 2.
Rainbow blade. Candy blade. Cracked blade.
All right, and then 3 will be different ignitions. So 1.
Broken ignition. Photon ignition.
And then you can go to 4, and 4 will be sound fonts.
The princess.
All right, so that is going to go in one direction, but if you kind of want to go back in the other direction or just bang through them really fast, flip it upside down and give a twist counterclockwise.
The butcher. Truly lost. Wraith. The Senate. Redeemed.
All right, and then you have twist on and twist off. Now, because of how sleek and like not having any sharp parts or control boxes or anything, this thing is just perfect for swinging around. It's like having a stunt saber. All your blaster effects, flash on clash, you got your lockup effects. Thing is loaded with everything that you could possibly need. Really nice kind of thinner part right here around the neck where your hand can sit perfectly. All right, that is it, my friends. This is the Darth Nihilus Xeno V3 from Artsabers. If you're interested, I'll put a direct link for you down below along with a discount code. Thank you so much to Artsabers for sending this over for everybody to check out. Drop down below and let me know what you think of this Darth Nihilus lightsaber. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, notification button for upcoming videos. All right, I will see you all on the next video. Be safe and kind out there in the world. See ya.